wasn't actually going to make a video on this because honestly, I thought this story was a little bit blown up. I thought it was one of those things that was not clickbait, but I thought it was a bit blown out of proportion. But we are in a general election, and I think that this for Rishi Sunak will be akin to Gordon Brown's bigoted woman moment in the 2010 general election. So basically, the story is that Rishi Sunak left the D-Day commemorations early, and he's got a lot of heat for that from the public, from fellow Tories. Um, he has apologised. He said in retrospect it was a mistake leaving early. Um, but there's a few talking points around this one. Firstly, I have to say I think ITV is being a little bit hypocritical because I've just watched the interview or a segment of the interview in which he went back early for with ITV's UK editor Paul Brand. Um, Now ITV's kind of highlighting that this is what he's getting heat for, but ITV they themselves would have known that he was in Normandy, so why did they schedule it for that time? Yes, the Prime Minister and his advisors should take heat for that, but ITV didn't have to schedule it at that time. They they must have known that he was in Normandy for what would have been a set period of 2 days, um, or whatever the full duration would have been. Um, so I do think it's a bit hypocritical of ITV to jump on this now when it's their very interview that he went back for. That interview itself, issues about wealth came up, the fact that Sunak is a very wealthy man, and Brand asked him what sort of things did he sacrifice? And he mentioned Sky TV. Well, unfortunately, that isn't going to help Rishi Sunak because this is a man perceived to be out of touch. Rightly or wrongly, fairly or unfairly, that is the perception because many people don't even have a Sky TV connection. So for Sunak to cite that as a sacrifices, I think it does look out of touch. But I think we're in a situation where this is a prime minister who is. It's like he can do nothing right at this point. It's the last debate between the two leaders, that is Starmer and Sunak, well, not directly, but with an with a Sky audience, I should say, in Grimsby. Apparently, Starmer was deemed to have been the winner by 64% of respondents. So one almost feels sorry for Sunak, almost. The thing about D-Day, though, just to focus a little bit on that, initially I thought the criticism was overblown and unfair because he was there. He did meet veterans, he did take part in the commemorations. But the thing about leaving early was the bit that he left out was the international segment. So, yes, he was at the British commemoration with the new, very impressive memorial there just above Gold Beach. He was there, the King was there, Emmanuel Macron was there. Um, and it was a big thing, but it also included a former REM getting the Legion d'Honneur from President Macron. But it was a serious mistake to leave the international segment. It just looked to me, I think the problem with that is it looks parochial. It looks like um, he didn't feel he needed to be there. I mean, it's kind of ironic because, notwithstanding the perceived disrespect to veterans, it's it seems like an own goal of Sunak. I mean, if I'm the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, I would want to be in there with other world leaders. Not that it's been entirely good for Biden either. I mean, his age has once again come into question. He's perceived to have wandered off and stuff, so it's not been entirely good for Biden. But all the G7 leaders were there, or a good number of them were there, and it's just I think leaving that out just looked parochial. But quite honestly, I think there is this aspect of Brexiteer Toryism. I could see Boris Johnson doing something similar, or Liz Truss. They haven't. It's on Sunak. But I wouldn't put it past either of them to have done the same thing because I think there is a parochialism about Brexiteers. Um, I'll give an example. Hard right Tories, hard right Brexiteer Tories recently attacked the Foreign Secretary, former Prime Minister David Cameron, because he'd made a statement about being close to our European neighbours. And they immediately got into this hysterical thing that he was trying to disrespect the results of Brexit. There is a dogma and an intolerance to Brexiteers that I do not like. Um, but I think it was just a missed opportunity by Sunak. Having said that, without question, the other parties and their leaders are going to jump on this and exploit it. Starmer, of course, stayed on. Um, and if they say that they're not taking political advantage of this, they're lying. Of course they are. We're in a general election. It's ironically even the nationalist leaders accused Sunak of lacking patriotism. Effectively, that's astonishing, coming from Plaid Cymru and the SNP. But yeah, I do think it was a mistake. Will it cost Sunak the election? Well, even without this, I think Sunak was going to lose. It's just another thing that makes him look out of touch. But I think Farage is wrong to say that's patriotism. That's a very blunt thing to say. It's a very charged thing to say. Lacking patriotism is better aimed at people like Jeremy Corbyn and George Galloway on the left, and someone like Peter Hitchens on the right, who are nothing but Putin appeasers. I think that's a lack of patriotism. Um, I think Sunak can be out of touch, and I think he's made this was a serious gaffe. But lacking patriotism, having no respect for our culture and history, I think that's quite a charged accusation, and I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. In fact, it's Sunak's Conservative Party that's been fighting for British culture and fighting against kind of woke orthodoxy in that regard. So I think Farage is wrong to put it that way. But it was a serious mistake. Um, for me, it's that aspect of parochialism. I don't think, I mean, Sunak did meet veterans. It's not like he shunned the veterans in that sense, but it's clearly very bad PR when other leaders felt the need to stay. I don't think anyone would have blamed him for staying on longer, general election or not. But like I say, ITV, why did they arrange the interview at the same time? They're kind of, I think it's a bit hypocritical to jump on the bandwagon when they were the network that arranged the interview at that time. Let me know your thoughts. I think other parties are exploiting this. Sunak can't do anything else but apologise. But it's had Jeremy Corbyn been prime minister, he probably wouldn't even be there. Or if he was, he would certainly not recognise the parallels with Putin's Russia today. So I think lacking patriotism is too strong a statement. I think it was a serious misjudgment, and I think it was a gaffe. But lacking patriotism, I think that's a bit. I think for me it was parochialism. It was not looking at the international picture. But Sunak says he was there for the British segment, but that's a problem. D-Day was a combined effort, free French, Americans, Canadians, and other nationalities as well. So it just looks short-sighted to kind of say, "Oh well, I've done the British bit, so I'll go back." Yeah, it was a serious mistake, and I'm sure he himself knows that now.